Hello and welcome to Eat, Smoke, Drink. Today, this is going to be my first... Oh, in case I haven't introduced, this is actually Rocket over here. Oh, he's trying to bite me. He doesn't like my hat. So Rocket's going to join me in this review today. He's a real big whiskey connoisseur as well, so we'll see what he likes. So today I'm reviewing the SMWS Scotch Malt Whisky Society Tea Smoked Duck. Now, just let that focus in there. This is my first SMWS review. The serial number is actually the iteration and the distillery. So 3.311 is this particular bottling called Tea Smoked Duck, and it has the age on the side there. So if you've never had this before, then I recommend you start having them because they're always very interesting. This particular one appealed to me because of the description. Tea Smoked Duck. Who doesn't like tea smoked duck? And so let's try them. Now this particular one, all of their bottlings actually have a really cool kind of little wording of how they describe it. It's like a little story where they describe the flavor, the notes of the whiskey itself. So the SMWS bottlings actually has a little description, and it always comes in the form of a story or a little kind of thing like that they make it a little bit more fun to tell you what nose, what finish, and what palate you get from this particular bottling. So with this one here, let's give it a try. It is quite a high ABV, by the way. This one here is 55.9, so it's not the highest I've seen, but it's very high. So let's do the standard 3 drops of water, and let's do the standard without. So let's start nosing. First without the water. This particular distillery is a bowmore. So bowmores are traditionally peated Islay whiskies, but when you first nose it, it's the peat is not your standard peat. It's not so heavy and oily, which is quite interesting. It is salty though, salty as hell. I mean, I can smell the saltiness coming through. Meaty as well. Herbal, medicinal, minerally, a little sweetness. Very pleasant, very pleasant. Hey, he wants some. With the water, interesting. With the water, sweetness comes through the nose a lot more. A lot more sweetness coming through. The herbal notes come through a little bit sharper. The salinity drops off. The meatiness is kind of similar, a little bit of earthiness with the water. Very interesting. Let's try. I get a hint of that signature Islay bandage glue oiliness. The mouthfeel and the coating is very complete. It's just like boom, very complex, but the alcohol is very high. I'm getting saltiness, very salty, very saline. This one, not iodine, your typical Islay salty, but just salty in general. Very meaty, like I'm talking meat. Like they're saying tea smoked duck. I'm getting the tea. I'm not quite getting the duck, but it is a little irony. So like irony is in like kind of like a bloody steak irony, you know. I'm getting a little bit of meatiness in there. Actually, no, sorry, a lot of meatiness in there. Not quite the duck, but I'm getting that tea smoke coming through. But the oiliness of the peat is not your normal peat, so it's quite a short-lived smoke and peat, which is interesting. And this is what I love about these particular whiskies, is that, you know, you can have two, same age, same distillery, different barrelings, completely opposite. The way they pick the barrels, I don't know. I think that they pick the barrels in a very kind of, hey, does it taste unique? Let's pick it. It's not like the taster or the person that picks the barrels goes, oh, I like this, so they will like it. They pick it because they think there's an interest factor, and this is definitely very interesting. If I gave this to you, you wouldn't know it's a bowmore. Very little sweetness. This is very savory, this whiskey. Very savory. It's all salt, it's all herb, it's all meat, and very little vanilla, very little sweetness, caramel, not much of that stuff going on. Let's try that on with water. Okay, so with water, you're getting a lot more sweetness in this one. Funny enough is the smell doesn't quite translate to the taste, which is really weird. With water, the salt comes through a lot more, the meatiness comes through a lot more, the herbal notes comes through a lot more. I will put my hand up right now and I will say my conclusion is water. Always have a few drops in it. I'm getting a lot more of that smoke. Now I'm starting to get why they say it's a tea smoked duck. I still don't get the duck, but I get a smoked meat out of it. With water, I get a little bit of smoked meat out of it. Almost a little bit like a roast dinner. You got that herbal, earthy salt, and definitely the oil that coats your mouth. It's a very good dram. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. There's no floral in there, a little nutty. Little earthiness, but very medicinal. Very medicinal. And the peat, look, it always amazes me because there's not much peat. I can't really taste that peat heavily. Not peat as you know it. There's peat. I can taste some peat, but not peat as you know it. So it's not peat as you know it. It's just, yeah. Look, actually, look, the finish is very similar. The finish is oily. It's long. I'm still tasting it. It's making me salivate. The salt is making me salivate. The meatiness is making me salivate. The meatiness kind of is a roast meat. I can definitely get the tea smoke in there, not the duck, but the tea smoke. Would I recommend this bottle? I definitely would. I definitely would recommend this bottle. It's great value. It's great ABV. A little bit of water opens it up. Interest factor, definitely a must buy. I don't get too many bad things with SMWS, Scotch Malt Whisky Society. I mean, sometimes they pump out things that are very young and they can be a bit hit and miss, but you know, some of them will surprise you. This particular one I think is a winner, but mind you, I'm also a big fan of bowmore, and I think the fact that I can't really taste that bowmore flavor from this, I'm impressed. I think it's very interesting. It just shows you that without homogenizing and blending multiple hundreds of barrels or a handful of barrels to make all your flavor profile flat across the globe, you get yourself a bowmore that tastes like no other bowmore you've ever had. Definitely, I'd say it's a go. When it comes to cigar pairings, I'd say a good Maduro is good for this one here, because it's very meaty, it's very salty. A good Maduro will have that sweetness, will have that chocolatey coffee flavor, and the salt and the sweet will be quite good. I'd recommend a good Maduro, a triple Maduro, or a really dark, oily tobacco. Like, you know, the Liga Provedas, or a Camacho triple Maduro, Nica Rustica. Something really robust, something super oily, an undercrown will be perfect for something like this. That's why my recommendation. And thank you for joining me today. Thank you for joining us today. Oh shit! And this is Rocket. He wants some whiskey now. He's getting agitated. Please hit subscribe. Ask me any questions. What's your favorite SMWS bottling? I'd like to know. Hit that bell so you know when I've put out a new video. And see you again next time.